Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. So this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con weekend. Yes, Comic-Con is back after what, a 2-year hiatus because of the pandemic. Boo. And Marvel decided to drop by and leave behind some nuclear bombs. Yes, they decided to drop by and they did not come to play. Kevin Feige was standing there in front of a massive screen revealing all of the secrets of the upcoming projects within the MCU from now until the end of time, until the end of days. And I'm here to break down my thoughts and feelings and reactions to the major announcements that Kevin Feige made. Now, I've already recorded some trailer reactions. This is new territory for me, so be kind. But I recorded some trailer reactions to the trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which was just go ahead and check out that video, okay, if you want to hear my thoughts. But I also recorded one for She-Hulk since I was already here, so you can go ahead and check out those trailer reactions to see my thoughts on the 2 trailers that were released from the panel. They did also have some other footage that were exclusive to Comic-Con visitors because, of course, otherwise if you release everything, no one's gonna go to the con itself. So like, yeah, they had to keep some exclusives to them close to the chest. I think some were regarding Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We'll obviously definitely see this footage eventually drop online and perhaps closer to the release dates, which makes sense, but in the meantime they are exclusive, so I won't be able to go through my thoughts on those. But regardless, Kevin Feige gave us plenty to discuss already without seeing all of that good stuff. So let's get into my thoughts on the upcoming Marvel projects and the direction that the MCU is headed towards from now until about 2026, I would say at this point, which seems like ages away, but time is fast approaching, guys. The time is fast approaching, so let's see what we're in for. So first of all, before I dive into my thoughts on the new juicy stuff, let's talk about Phase 4 of the MCU. Now, I had been planning on making a video on my thoughts on Phase 4 so far, but because we've gotten this brand new news that Phase 4 is due to end with this year's Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I figure I'll just wait until that film comes out to give you guys my overall thoughts. But Phase 4, it can be said, has been quite a rocky road. There have been quite a few misses this time around, and people have been a little bit fatigued perhaps and just not as impressed with some of the outings within this phase. And so it makes sense then that Kevin Feige would just decide to end it as quickly as possible. I love the fact that he's like, you guys don't like this one, we're just gonna drop it. Like, it's like a gushing wound that Kevin Feige has decided to cauterize with Black Panther 2. He's literally like, okay, we're just gonna seal this one off and move right along, okay? Even though there were projects that were initially scheduled to be a part of Phase 4, I think, like Ant-Man Quantumania and the Marvels, now they're being pushed over to Phase 5. I wonder if there'll be a change in the storylines to kind of, you know, suit this change, or maybe they're just like moving forward regardless. I don't know what distinguishes these phases anymore because we don't have an Avengers film at the end. Like it used to be, you have an Avengers film at the end of each phase, and that's kind of what marks the end of the phase. But this time around, to end the less than popular Phase 4, we are going to be getting Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I hope is a return to MCU form, especially considering that Ryan Coogler obviously has a lot of creative weight, you know, and a creative drive and vision in this project. So hopefully the studio just let him do what he needed to do, and judging from the trailer, it looks like it's going to be at least visually extraordinary. Since Phase 4 is wrapping up very soon, we're going to be looking into Phase 5 next. And before we get into my thoughts on each of the announcements of Phase 5, I did just want to say that overall, I think Phase 5 currently has like 12 projects. There is a lot. There is a lot on the roster, and it seems like it's not even complete. Most of these projects are like new projects. There aren't a lot of like sequels here dealing with stuff that's come before. So I wonder how they're going to make room for sequels or second seasons, third seasons. I don't know. And also, this isn't even counting the animation announcements that they had. I think the day prior where they announced like Marvel Zombies and X-Men 97 and season 2 of What If, and there was something else as well, I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Spider-Man freshman year. So they announced all of that as well the previous day. I wonder how they're gonna it's just gonna be like Marvel content back to back to back to back. But here's the thing, I do think that first of all, Marvel is going to have to find a way to be a little bit more flexible. Obviously we all like to have an overarching plan and to know, you know, the direction that these phases are going to go in, and for that to happen you need to have planned the projects that are going to fit into these time slots accordingly. But I do think there needs to be a little bit more wiggle room to kind of adjust when things aren't going well and when things need a change of direction, or when things have done really, really well, and to prioritize that. For instance, I don't see Thor 5 I didn't see 4-5 anywhere here. I know that Thor 4 was a little bit controversial, but that ending promised to be an incredible sequel. I need to see Thor 5 be slotted in here somewhere, okay, Kevin Feige? So yeah, that's the issue with planning so far ahead, is that you kind of have to get the ball rolling and there's not really enough wiggle room to change directions when necessary. Now, the second problem that we have here is that this like roster of about 12 projects is evenly split between movies and Disney Plus shows. And in terms of the Disney Plus shows, they're all being dropped on Wednesdays currently. I don't think that that's a sustainable model. I think that Disney Plus is going to have to budge and drop some of these shows on other days of the week, because these Wednesdays have become so crowded. I mean, look what happened to Miss Marvel underneath the weight of Obi-Wan Kenobi. That show had problems, but it didn't help that it was being overshadowed every week almost by Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think they're going to have to change that strategy of like dropping it only on Wednesdays, because it's ridiculous and we don't need it. Like, drop some on Thursdays, drop some on Fridays. Yeah, that's going to have to be a change that they make in the near future, because so much is coming out. And this is only from Marvel Studios, mind you. Like, Disney has so many IP verticals. They are going to be, you know, fighting for slots on the, you know, Disney Plus roster with Star Wars and, you know, other verticals in the Disney empire. So yeah, that change needs to happen sooner rather than later. Okay, so now let's talk about my thoughts on phase 5 of the MCU as it stands. Now, bear in mind, okay, much like my own filming schedule, all of this is subject to change, okay, because we've seen before that Kevin Feige has announced various projects in various orders, but over time some of those projects kind of come out and some are added. There are always adjustments, which I guess, you know, it speaks to what I said previously about being able to make those adjustments. But I think the difference is previously they used to only have, what, 2 movies a year, and now they have 1 million. So it's going to be harder to kind of swap these things out, but I still think there is room for a little bit of adjusting, and so some of this could change as, you know, the time comes closer to the releases. But anyways, this is how things stand at the moment, and we're starting off with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania coming out on the 17th of February 2023. Now, this is interesting. I swear this was supposed to be the end of phase 4 originally, or was Fantastic Four supposed to be the end? We'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, I mean, the Ant-Man and the Wasp movies aren't really my favorite kind of pocket of the MCU, but we are going to be seeing a certain character. We are going to be getting a certain character, a certain conqueror featured in this movie. So I am really excited to see, of course, the reappearance of Kang in this film. Jonathan Majors is a delight. Jonathan Majors is such a gift, okay? So I'm really excited to see how they portray Kang in the movie. That's pretty much the main draw here. The rest is like cute. I like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Evangeline Lilly is great as Wasp, but like it's not the corner of the MCU that's the most popping. And I'm so surprised. I said this before and I'll say it again. Peyton Reed Peyton Reed continues to deliver like okay Ant-Man movies, and he hasn't been fired yet. Like, it's kind of, he must be the nicest person on the planet, because Kevin Feige has been known to get rid of a director if they do not deliver. So yeah, it's shocking that he's remained for all 3 Ant-Man movies, but we shall see. Hopefully Kang and his portrayal here is going to give the movie a boost to make it feel like a must-see film. Okay, so next up we have Secret Invasion. Now, this is a Disney Plus show, I believe, and it's coming out currently in spring 2023. So closely following Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I don't know much about this other than the fact that it's to do with the Skrulls. It's to do with an invasion of Skrulls, which is interesting to me because in the MCU, they've established that the Skrulls aren't all bad. They're not like villains as they're portrayed elsewhere. Like in my case, I never read the comics, I often say here on this channel, but I did grow up watching Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, a banging animated show banging animated show with a banging theme song. Okay, look that up. But that series had an amazing Skrull storyline that was done so well. I don't know how it compares to the comics, but just from the TV show standpoint, that was just mwah. That was an incredible actualization of that storyline. So I hope that they deliver on that level, but in live action in Secret Invasion. And it has a really great cast. You know, Emilia Clarke is in this amongst many other people. Olivia Colman, I swear Olivia Colman's in this. Inexplicably. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do, and hopefully they measure up to the animated version in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was truly phenomenal. Okay, so the next one after that we have is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is slated to come out on the 5th of May 2023, opening up the summer movie-going season next year. I'm excited for this one. You know, obviously we did get to see the Guardians in Thor: Love and Thunder. I keep forgetting the title of that film. Thor: Love and Thunder, and I did say in my review that I felt like they were shells of themselves. Like, they didn't feel as vibrant and charismatic as they usually do. I suspect it's because they were directed by Taika Waititi and not their, you know, dad, not their actual father director, James Gunn, although I'm sure James Gunn was like a consultant on that film just because they were portrayed there. But yeah, I hope we do get some more vibrancy in the characters in this next installment in their franchise. It's been a while since we've seen a Guardians movie because so much is going on in the MCU at the moment, and of course because of the whole controversy surrounding James Gunn there. But I am happy to see them return, and you know, it may be the final film for quite a few Guardians apparently. Hopefully they get really great send-offs. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Really excited to see what they do with the character of Adam Warlock. Okay, and yeah, this is going to be a really great movie to start off the movie-going season, summer 2023. Also in summer 2023 over in Disney Plus, we're going to be getting the Echo series. Now, we got the debut of the Echo character in Hawkeye season 1, so we kind of anticipated that there would be a follow-up to this, but apparently the Echo series is going to be quite big. Not only are we going to get the return of the character herself, who was really great in Hawkeye, but also we're going to be getting, you know, Kingpin as portrayed by Vincent D'Onofrio, and even, of course, Matt Murdock as portrayed by the one and only Charlie Cox. I'm excited. Listen, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for an assist when you need one. Like, we don't know who Echo is, bless her. She's great in Hawkeye, but we don't know the character like that. So it's okay to have an assist from Kingpin. It's okay to have an assist from Daredevil. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. It's okay to ask for help. Now, I will say, Daredevil is showing up in a lot of these Disney Plus shows. We'll talk more about, you know, his role later down the line because we have some big news. But he's showing up in a lot of these Disney Plus shows. First of all, I hope that they stay true to his depiction on Netflix. Let's not forget that Daredevil is not a character that has always worked, okay? We saw a previous iteration of the character portrayed by Ben Affleck back in the day, and it was bad. It was bad, okay? It was considered a huge flop back in the pre-MCU days, and so we don't want to go back to that situation. Now, he's still being portrayed by Charlie Cox, so like we have that faith in him, but still I am worried about them straying too far from the Marvel Netflix version of the character, especially after seeing what they did to Kingpin in Hawkeye. I really did not like the way that they portrayed Kingpin in Hawkeye. I hope they take notes from that because it was just so goofy and it didn't have the seriousness and gravitas of the character that we've come to be terrified of but also to love from the Netflix series. So hopefully they go back to the Netflix roots, and hopefully they give us a bit more punch. You know, hopefully they give us Hopefully they don't hold back all of the punches too much. I know that these Disney Plus shows are made for families, to be 4-quadrant shows, you know, kids can watch it, adults can watch it, whatever. But I do feel like, especially with a character like Daredevil, we need to be able to go there. We need to be able to go there. It's like go hard or go home, you know what I mean? So I don't know if I want to see a Disney Plusified version of Daredevil, but we're gonna get a first glimpse of him in She-Hulk, so hopefully we'll be able to see better, you know, the direction that Disney Plus is headed towards with the character. I hope again it does stay true to his depiction in the Netflix show. Okay, so next up we have Loki season 2. Now Loki is the only Marvel Disney Plus series to get a second season, and it was the best Marvel Disney Plus show, so that's not surprising. The second season is slated to come out in summer 2023. I am so excited. I am so excited. Now here's the thing about Loki though, I will say, love Loki, love Tom Hiddleston's Loki. I think he knocked it out of the park on that show. I think it's abysmal that he didn't get a single Emmy nomination, whatever. That's horrific, okay? But I will say I didn't love the character of Sylvie. Like I made it no secret that I wasn't in love with the character of Sylvie. I hope they improve the character in the second season, or perhaps just get rid of her and introduce us to another variant of Loki instead. I did see from some set photos that we are getting the return of Morbius. Is it Morbius? Mobius? It's Mobius, right? This version. I don't want to confuse Morbius and Mobius, right? But anyways, we are getting the return of the character alongside Loki, so hopefully we'll get to see him ride a jet ski at the end of season 2, hopefully. And then next up, still in summer 2023, we have the Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels. Now this sequel is going to be featuring 3 of the Marvelites, the Marvelite characters, Captain Marvel herself, as well as Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel, aka Kamala Khan. And I'm really excited for this. Now I have heard that this movie is going to be quite jokey and a little bit, you know, fun, funky, fresh. We shall see. Obviously, I'm holding out hope that it's going to be exceptional. The stakes are so high here. We have 3 lead female characters, and it's being directed by a black female director, Nia DaCosta. So the stakes couldn't be higher. We really need to deliver. We really need this film to deliver. So we cannot afford to fail here. And I'm nervously anticipating for at least a first trailer to get a feel of what the film is going to be like. Because I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Captain Marvel movie, and you know, Miss Marvel has been a little bit wobbly. I think Monica Rambeau has been a great standout amongst the 3 so far, but we'll see what they do with all 3 characters in the Captain Marvel sequel. The first one made $1 billion, but was that just because it was in front of, I think, Avengers Endgame? Like maybe people's anticipation of Avengers Endgame drove that box office. We'll see next year when we get the sequel to the film. And then finally in 2023 we get a little bit of a break before Blade hits on the 3rd of November of 2023. Yeah, this is a big one. This whole year is huge, but Blade is a big one. Blade is a big one, guys. Here's the thing, going back to what I said about the Disney Plusification of Daredevil, I am really nervous that they're going to do a similar thing with Blade. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the original Blade films. I've never even watched any of them fully. Like, I've seen parts of them. But I really want them to deliver on like a rated R, just bloody, gory, crazy Blade. Like, I don't want them to hold back. They can do a lot with, you know, a PG-13 rating, but especially because it's a Blade movie and it's like vampires, you can't really avoid the blood. Like, look what Morbius tried to Morbius tried to do that and it failed. You can't avoid the blood if it's a vampire movie. So I really think they need to embrace the fact that it's gonna have to be a rated R movie. It might make a dent in the box office, but in the long term it will benefit the franchise, and hopefully that will benefit the box office in the long term as well. So I hope that that's the direction they're going in, but we'll see. We'll see. But either way, Mahershala Ali, I mean, for whatever issues this film may have, Mahershala Ali is not going to be one of them. Mahershala Ali ain't going to be one. Two-time Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali ain't going to be one of them, okay? So I am really, really excited to see him in this role. And then also in fall 2023, we are going to be seeing the second outing of Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, and that's going to be dropping on Disney Plus. I'm really excited to see the debut of the character in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. She looks incredible. My sis looks amazing. They all listen, I'm not even gonna, but they all look great, and I think Riri is going to be a wonderful addition to the MCU. I hope they give her a bit of a different personality. I've been talking recently about how a lot of these young female characters in the MCU that they've been introducing in phase 4 have very similar personalities. They're very homogenous in that way. I hope Riri has a personality of her own that really shines. I mean, she seems to be friends with Shuri, who is a very distinct character, so hopefully, you know, she's kind of got her own character and personality that can stand out from the rest of the crowd. Don't know much about the Ironheart storyline other than she takes inspo from Tony Stark's Iron Man, obviously, and we got some homage to that in the Black Panther trailer. So yeah, I'm really excited to see her, and I'm happy that we're getting a black female-led Marvel project. The stakes are high once again. The stakes are high. I'm just loving this diversity that we're seeing in the following phases in the MCU. It's, you know, been a long time coming, but it's just wonderful to see. So next up, we have a little bit of vagueness here with winter 2023/2024 giving us Agatha Coven of Chaos. We knew that an Agatha Harkness series was coming, but now we have the official title. And of course, the chaos is definitely insinuating chaos magic in some way. It's giving me Wanda vibes. Perhaps Agatha is released from her trance or the spell that Wanda casts on her at the end of WandaVision, because the that evil book, what's that book called again? The evil book has been destroyed, so maybe it's released Agatha. Maybe it's a backstory, maybe we're going back in time, I don't know. But either way, she was a beloved character on WandaVision, so I'm happy to see her return for her own series. And yeah, like, hopefully we'll get more exploration of the magic and kind of evil side of the MCU. It's very like different from the rest that we see, so hopefully they make it nice and distinct and really just like grimy magic, voodoo, just different. Just different witchcraft, you know, casting spells, giving us Vampire Diaries vibes. I can't wait to see it. But this brings us to 2024, where Kevin Feige decided to blow our minds. Where he decided to blow our minds and give us a 18 episode Daredevil series. Yep. All our prayers were answered. Yeah, who says prayers don't work? Who says prayers don't work? Kevin Feige's been listening. Like, this is wonderful news. So we have Daredevil Born Again. Now, Born Again, to me, born again Christian, like, are we tying into his like religious roots here? I think that's a perfect title. Of course, he has been resurrected from the dead after the end of the Marvel Netflix deal. And I love the fact that, you know, he's back. Like I said, you know, Charlie Cox was never the issue when it came to Daredevil ending, and neither was the rest of the show around him. It was just a matter of the parents fighting. You know, Disney and Netflix no longer had a deal to create streaming shows because Disney was going to go off and create its own streaming platform, so we no longer needed Netflix, and unfortunately we saw the end of the Marvel Netflix shows. But here we have the revival of one of them, with Daredevil coming back to be on Disney Plus in 2024. I really hope again that we are getting a rated R Daredevil show. That's my only kind of worry when it comes to this news, because I really want it to be more in line with the Netflix series as opposed to what we've been seeing on Disney Plus elsewhere. I just want it to have that edge. I just want it to have the violence, the gore, the real pain and suffering that Daredevil goes through. I want him to suffer. I really hope that they lean more towards rated R, and I also think it will help differentiate these shows. Like, I think there's so much coming out right now, and for the end of time time, through to the end of time. They really need a way to differentiate these shows, and I think they have great variety here, both in terms of the types of characters represented, the stories, the themes, the worlds, etc. But I also think that having different, age ratings and age demographics would also be beneficial, and I think Daredevil needs to go hard. Daredevil needs to be rated R, okay? So it's known for its incredible action sequences. I don't want them to be curbed by Disney Plusifying the show. I will say that the other kind of question mark I have surrounding this is the 18 episode thing. The 18 listen, we've all had our qualms about the 6 episode seasons on the Disney Plus shows, but 18 episodes, if there was ever one critique of the Marvel Netflix shows that was consistent throughout, even with Daredevil, it was that there were too many episodes per season. Like, it felt like they should have been 10 episodes, 10 strong episodes with no filler, as opposed to 30 episodes per season, which the shows had. But having like 18, I was like, how long are these episodes? Because I don't want them to be 15 minutes long. I don't want these episodes to be 15 minutes long, Disney. So yeah, 18, let's see. Maybe if they're tying in different characters, maybe if we get a cameo from Spider-Man. Hold on. Will we get a cameo from Spider-Man? Hold on. or from Deadpool. Okay. Maybe if they're having cameos, maybe if we're tying in different heroes in the area, maybe the 18 episodes could be warranted. Maybe the 18. If we're getting cameo, I take it back. It depends on what we're doing. But if it's just a Matt Murdock show, 18 might be stretching it a little too thin. And then next, we're bleeding into summer 2024, and the season is getting kicked off by Captain America New World Order, which is slated to come out on the 3rd of May 2024, starting off the summer movie-going season the year after next. This is so far ahead. But guys, I'm so excited. I'm so happy for Sam Wilson. I'm so happy for Anthony Mackie. I'm guessing Sebastian Stan will make an appearance in this, like, at least for 5 minutes. So, like, I'm happy for him as well. These are just, like, they feel like OG characters at this point, because there's so much new going on. So many new characters being introduced into the MCU. But these feel like, yeah, OG characters that we can go back to. And keep in mind, this movie is coming out a decade after Captain America the Winter Soldier. A decade after. That's crazy. Like, literally 10-year anniversary of Captain America the Winter Soldier will be in 2024. So that's wild. But it just shows how, like, if you have great foundations for these characters, they can endure and you can continue to evolve them. And I'm so excited to see what they do with this version of Captain America. The title, New World Order, is very interesting. It's giving political thriller. It's giving direct sequel to Winter Soldier, maybe. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting. And also from the font and of the actual logo itself is giving very Winter Soldier. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with this, and hopefully Anthony Mackie will still be spry enough to do the action sequences. These actors are in it for the long haul. They'll be making these films until they're 90. Which brings us to the final phase 5 project on the roster so far, and that is the Thunderbolts, which is directly connected to the Captain America verse, because we saw the introduction of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, something Allegra, something on that show, and we'll likely be seeing that guy, what's his name, Fake Cap, I can't remember his name right now, but we'll likely be seeing John, I think his name was, Fake Cap in the Thunderbolts, perhaps even Zemo, perhaps even Yelena. Like, we'll see what they do. I'm excited. Okay, it's not really the corner that I'm most excited about, but I do like the fact that, again, we have that variety when it comes to these shows. I think it just introduces some, like, exciting elements to the world to make it nice and diverse, so that, you know, people who are interested in the Captain America pocket have a lot to look forward to. People who are interested in, like, mystical, magical stuff have Agatha Harkness to look forward to. Like, there's a variety, there's something for for everyone, and I think that's how this franchise will continue to endure and thrive. Okay, so we've gone through the entirety of phase 5, at least how it stands at the moment. Now let's get into phase 6. That's right, Kevin Feige gave us a taste of what's to come for the 6th phase of the MCU, and already it's looking juicy. Already, I almost fell off my chair. Now, apparently people were already aware of some of these announcements because there were some leaks regarding like the registration of like IPs, like the copywriting of certain names, which is like crazy. Like people get leaks from everywhere these days, and so people were able to anticipate some of these announcements. Maybe that's why Kevin Feige decided to go ahead and reveal phase 6, because he knew that people had, you know, been aware. But let's take a look at phase 6 so far. So first one up we have is Fantastic Four. Now Fantastic Four was supposed to be either in phase 4 or phase 5. It has been pushed back a little bit. It did lose John Watts as a director, and he's a director of all the Spider-Man movies. I'm happy about this actually. I never thought that John Watts would be a great Fantastic Four director, just because as much as I really love the Spider-Man movies, I don't think he has like a specific artistic, you know, vision that's really distinct and unique to him that would, you know, make him be able to hold up both franchises. Like I feel like it's okay to allow someone else to take over the Fantastic Four, so that it doesn't just become too homogenized, and you know the Spider-Man films don't feel too similar to Fantastic Four as well. So yeah, I actually prefer the fact that John Watts isn't tied to this franchise anymore. Hopefully we can get someone with more, you know, vision and artistic flair to take over the Fantastic Four franchise. I don't even know why this is a question. I personally would have chosen the man who already made the best Fantastic Four films ever created, and that was the Incredibles films. I personally would have gone with Brad Bird. Like, for me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, for me, I know that like Tomorrowland wasn't great, okay, but Brad Bird literally made the best Fantastic Four film to ever be made, and probably the best one that will ever be made, with the first Incredibles movie, and the second one was also really good. So I don't know why they're umming and ahhing about this. For me, it's a done deal. For me, it's like give Brad Bird a blank check and let him do what he needs to do to make this work, okay? And I think under the Marvel supervision, we won't get another Tomorrowland, hopefully, and we'll get another first Incredibles movie, a masterpiece, a literal masterpiece. So yeah, I think Brad Bird should like direct this. I think it's a no-brainer, but I don't know, maybe I'm just here in my corner on my own. You guys let me know who you think should direct the Fantastic Four film, because to me it's just so simple, it's so clear. But anyways, Fantastic Four is slated to open up phase 6 of the MCU on the 28th of November 2024. So that's actually getting an end of November release date, which is different because usually these Marvel films get a beginning of November release date to make way for like a Disney animated film for Thanksgiving. So I wonder if that will change. Maybe it will. I mean, it's quite far off, so it's likely to switch around a little bit. But yeah, so far it's slated for the 28th of November 2024, and then we get into 2025. Okay, now there aren't many slots that have been filled up yet for phase 6, but the ones that have are the big ones. The ones that have are, guys, the Avengers are back. The Avengers are back, okay? Like Kevin Feige was like, listen, phase 4, phase 5, that was cute. We did it without the Avengers. That was, you know, Gucci, that was fine. But now it's time to bring in the big now it's time to bring in the big ones, and we're going back to the Avengers formula. Absolutely, yes we are, and we're getting 2 Avengers movies in the same year. Again, I think this is subject to change. I wouldn't be surprised if we got one in 2025 and one in 2026 instead, because that feels a little bit crowded. I feel like they want to allow the Avengers movies to breathe a little bit more and build up that anticipation, especially because it's not like we'll be without Marvel content for long, because they have the Disney Plus shows and other films and everything. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this changed. But for now, what is slated to come out is Avengers Kang Dynasty. What? And that is coming out on the 2nd of May 2025. That for the title alone, my mind was blown. My mind was blown. I was like, oh, they mean business. The title alone is incredible. This is how I know Kevin Feige was like, we need to return to form. We can't have any more flops like some of Phase 4. Like we need to be back with a bang, okay? So he's not messing around anymore. Like he's not coasting anymore, and he's coming back with Avengers Kang Dynasty. That sounds sick as hell. And also, I am so excited for Jonathan Majors. Like I am so excited. Like he started off as a cameo in the Loki season finale, and now he's the big, like now he's Thanos. He's basically Thanos of the multiverse saga, which we'll talk about in a second. But following the release of Kang Dynasty, we have Avengers Secret Wars on the 7th of November 2025. So this is the one that's getting the early November slot in 2025, at least as it stands right now. And yeah, see, that's also a sick, title. Really excited to see what they do with the Secret Wars storyline. I'm not really familiar with this storyline as much as Secret Invasion. I don't read the comics, like I said, so let me know if you know about the Secret Wars storyline and what you're excited to see here, what you think may happen. But yeah, that is the slate so far for Phase 6 of the MCU. They have this stuff planned out, and I think that's intentional. After the ambiguity and confusion of Phase 4, Kevin Feige really wanted to realign the MCU again and show fans that he does know what he's doing. He does know what direction these films are headed towards, and this is a really great start so far. But like I said, Phase 6 is looking quite empty at the moment. That makes sense. Hopefully they'll take their time to see, what works from Phase 4 and 5 and build, say, Phase 6 off from there, instead of just putting slots in just to kind of fill up the spaces, because God knows they have a ton of projects that they need to get to before even reaching Phase 6. So let's just hold our horses a bit. There are some notable absences. X-Men. Disney, of course, spent a ton of money on Fox, and one of the benefits that it got from Fox was the X-Men as well as the Fantastic Four. And people are curious to see like where they at, like where are the X-Men at. I personally am okay with waiting for the X-Men. Like we got the X-Men for what, like 20 years or so, and it was a bit of a wonky ride, so I don't actually mind waiting a little bit longer for Kevin Feige to get the X-Men just right. I think he should just take his time. I know that like 2025 seems ages away, but considering this franchise is what, like it's gonna be like 20 years old by the time that the 5th, 6th, 7th Avengers film comes out, I think it's okay to just allow some breathing space for the X-Men to be introduced organically. We started to see hints to mutants already in Miss Marvel, for instance, so we know that mutants are a thing. They're starting to use the words, the vocabulary. So yeah, they'll come, and when they do, hopefully they'll be great. I'm not, kind of sitting at the edge of my seat awaiting the X-Men personally. There are also other absences, mostly like the sequels to the stuff that we're going to be getting before. So like I said, Thor. Where's Thor 5? I need to see Thor 5 yesterday. I know that Thor 4 wasn't perfect, but considering that ending, considering the introduction of Hercules, I'm gonna need to see the sequel immediately. Okay, I'm gonna need that sequel to be fast-tracked pronto. So as excited as I am for all of these other projects, they're cute, they're fun, I'm happy, but I'm gonna need to see Brett Goldstein as Hercules as soon as possible. Thank you very much, Kevin Feige. And my final point before we end off today's video is that Kevin Feige has introduced the idea or the name of this, collection of phases of the MCU, and he has called it the Multiverse Saga. So we've moved on from the Infinity War saga, and now we're in the Multiverse Saga, which is really, really exciting. It means we're going to get a ton of variants of different characters, hopefully, and be diving into a ton of worlds and universes within the multiverse. Like, I really hope that they go ham with this idea, because they've introduced it so far in Phase 4, but I don't think they have fully met the potential of this concept quite yet. I do think this concept has the ability to go out of hand. Like, once you open that Pandora's box, how do you close it back up again? Like, it's almost impossible to do so. But that's not my problem. Like, that's not a question that I'm paid to answer. So we'll see how Kevin Feige and the gang figure that out. But in the meantime, I'll be enjoying the ride. Absolutely. Like, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. They pull me back in. I am so excited for these new releases and all of these announcements. But that's it from me. Now that I told you guys my thoughts on the Comic-Con 2022 Marvel panel, it's time for you guys to let me know what you think of all of these trailers, release dates, you know, the multiverse saga as a whole. Let me know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. Do you even care? I wonder. And I think a lot of people are kind of dropping out of the MCU bubble, but let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts as per usual. And please be sure to subscribe to catch new videos coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.